Whew. Hey there, friendlies. How's up? Welcome to the 31st of March episode of my fantabulous live stream. Okay. Sounds okay. Gonna mute that. This is the Bevies, Blades, and Bushcraft live stream where we have bevies, we have blades, and we do sometimes talk about bushcraft related stuff. Tonight is the night. It's the night where we talk about Chris's book and, books. In fact, I forgot to get out a book. I don't know where it is, so maybe we'll forget about it. There it is. Okay. Any questions? So, before we get to that and the usual Chitty McChat, I just want to say the usual housekeeping. That's the part where I say, if you are watching us, time shifted to tomorrow or next week or whatever, please feel free to hit that join button, give it the right click treatment, open another tab, and there you will see all the beautiful things that are available to you on either one of the two tiers of membership that I offer. If at any point tonight you really love the conversation, the quality of the showmanship, and just hearing the dulcet tones of my voice warms the cockles of your heart, then I invite you also to give me a smiley thumb. If at any point tonight you really kind of hate what's going on, and it's like, what is this shite? It's okay, we're after 8 seconds. I'm not going to get demonetized. That's all right. The frowny thumb works just as well. And if you would like to take... I was about to do that all bass backwards. Anyways, whatever. Hi, everyone. Yesterday and today, I've been in kind of a neurodivergent hurricane, so this may not be as smooth as my usual live streams. What do we got to drink tonight? Dimauloise, which is an English pale ale. For the whiskey tonight, I was going to do this Redbreast again because I'm getting to the point where I really need to bottle it down, and I do love it so. But it was so painful. I have some samples, and I might do one of those instead, but we'll see. We'll see when it gets around 10 o'clock. At say 12 to 10, I'll take a look through and see if there's anything that catches my fancy, and if so, then that's great, and if not, then I'll just open up the Redbreast. However, before we do that, what? A Piranha whiskey tonight? What's going on, Jess? Did a lot of gigging, and then this past weekend was full of action and stuff. So tonight, I shall take it easy. I also finished a large project at work, so I'm just giddy about it. I'm just giddy, okay? So there you go. English pale ale. I hope it's good. Yes. That is nice. It's got sort of a smooth, mouth-friendly thing happening. It's not an IPA, so it doesn't have that horrible hoppy bitterness. However, because it's not an IPA, it also doesn't have that wonderful citrus juiciness. But it's got sort of a creamy... It is slightly cream ale-ish, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So here we are, 6 minutes past the hour of 21, and I haven't said hi to anyone who's hanging with us yet. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna show on stream that Mr. Peanut Trucker Chris was first at 8:48. I think that was when I was still editing the title and everything because I sort of hit the post button a little too quick tonight. You hit post to sort of put the live stream up on the channel, but not live yet. That's when you guys get sort of the note that it's going live tonight. And Mr. Peanut Trucker was first, followed up quickly by Mr. Marcus. How are you doing? Excuse me. Marcus and Chris, everyone, they were just saying hi to each other. Marcus is asking Chris where he is tonight before I could even get to it. Down by Orange, Texas, right by the Louisiana line. It was 90 today. What is that, 30? 32.2 Canadian. That's a nice warm day. I will tell you something. Today up here, it's pretty balmy comparatively. Right now it's 2 degrees. Today was 6 to 0, but the rain has been real today, people. Like real. It was supposed to be freezing rain, and I think it was earlier, but it warmed right up, and so the freezing part just turned into rain. Where Marcus is, it's apparently quite similar. Apparently they're getting a rainy season down there as well. Canadian showing up with the usual array of emoji. Working up north. Whereabouts? Is it cool to ask that in a public forum? Never mind. Northern Ontario, I imagine? Or like up north. Christy popping in to say hi to everyone. I did forget to mention that Peanut Trucker is a channel mod. Christy is a channel hero. And Marcus is also a channel hero. Okay? Okay. Let me just make scrolly here and see who's kicking with all of us. Country Boy's here, but working on a tool belt, so he'll be quiet for a bit, but me being quiet is probably a good thing. Yeah, it's too bad that whiskey hadn't arrived yet today, mister. And you wouldn't be quiet. Now, when you say a tool belt, you mean like, because when I was coming up in the carpentry, a tool belt was just a standard nylon belt with these big leather bags on it for your nails, your hammer, your measuring tape, all your stuff. You know the stuff? Is it something like that, or is it something different? And there's Destiny, just saying hi. Just kicking back and saying hi. And we got Steve in the house as well. Hi, Steve. I guess Steve is watching on the TV tonight. Am I correct about that? And there's, saying hi to everyone except me. Yep. Saying hi to everyone except me. Just to make me feel bad about myself. It was a long day. Everyone's a unit tonight. Okay. Long day for me as well, but not a bad one. Oh, a C unit. Okay, I get it. All right. Is that like a see you next Tuesday unit? Kaja says Texas is a good place. I do not know. I've never been there. I'm just gonna justificate here. Get more comfy. Get a little comfy. The ad bounced out of chat. What ad? Oh, did you get an ad? Yes, we were talking Chris's book. Yeah, I told you guys last week that we would talk about it this week, and that gave you guys a week to finish it if you weren't finished it. Okay, sound is good. I was about to hit sort of go, And I was like, let's do a little mic test here. There's Grace. How you doing, Grace? I hope you're having a good night. I hope the weather is better for you than it is for me. There's Paul. Oops. Okay, I thought I hid that. Paul, what's your beverage of choice tonight? Okay, no, that's not for me. That's for someone else. That's for someone else. That's for someone else. Paul, these are all whiskeys that I gave you, and I've made for other people, and just completely haven't sent yet. So let me get those out of the way so I don't accidentally drink one of my own damn whiskeys. I may not have as many as I... You know what? I have an entire other box of samples that I didn't bring over. That one's rum. This entire box was whiskeys samples that I have for people who I know through my whiskey channel. Except for this. This was a gift from Mr. Mike Morton. This is Flokki Icelandic single malt, 3-year, 47%. It's not the one that they malted using sheep dung, unfortunately. So maybe I also have this Bikun vatted Basque malt, 46%. Basque Moonshiners. Which is in Spain, non-chill filtered and natural color. Okay. Well, I thought I had all these samples, but I guess maybe not. Chris wrote the prelude to the book that just went live today. You want to drop a link? Excuse me. Everyone's saying hi. Destiny, the Snooches, really? It's like I'm a K-pop band. You know how K-pop bands have like names for their fan clubs or their fans? Like Twice calls their fans Once. And I've forgotten every single other one of those. Like Blackpink has a weird name for their fans as well. But anyway, whatever. What's up, Snooches? How's it going, mister? How you doing tonight? Mr. Mark in the house. And we got Mark and Mike and Marcus. All the M's. All the M's are in the house. All the men. That's not where I really wanted to go with that. Destiny says, all hell the pale ale. What is Paul drinking tonight? We're not sure yet. It's going to be something fabulous. Oh, you're having a Kilkenny. Nice. Okay. I do like a Kilkenny. Is it pale ale or ale from the pail? Destiny. Why you gotta be like that? Destiny got an ad. Christy's reminding everyone to hit the thumbs up, please. I am supporting her in that request. Am I a little out of focus, or is it your stream? Nope, I am definitely out of focus. Oh, no, I'm buffering. Hold on. I think I may have forgotten to do something. Let me turn off the Wi-Fi. I hope I don't disappear on yes. And we'll see if that works. But yeah, I definitely look Hold on a second here. Let me see something. Yeah, that's supposed to be 1080p. It's not out of focus. It is absolutely squashing my signal. This might be rain fade because the weather here is very bad tonight. Yeah, it's bad. I don't like the way that looks, but that's nothing I can do about it. That's signal strength. I'm so tired. I guess I should have been looking at that screen more. I turned off the Wi-Fi, so maybe it'll improve things, but maybe not. Oh, it looks terrible. Anyways, nothing I can do about it. Hey, with Mike says the book that changed my life was The Tracker by Tom Brown Jr. It is good medicine, and Tom Brown designed a knife called the Tracker. Does he talk about that at all in the book? Because he designed the knife based on what he wanted to in a bushcraft knife. Like, this is what I want, if I remember correctly. Okay, so you guys both watch on the TV and type on the computer. Okay. You know, that blurriness is really bugging me. Okay. Fitzy's got a question. Did you place an intent blessing on your book? I certainly felt a positive wave, and you came to mind when I cracked the book open. Country Boy says, I've made the belt and the suspenders for the belt. I just have to figure out the pouches. Store-bought belts suck. They don't have shit where I want it, so I'm making my own. I love that idea. I don't even use my tool belt because for the same reason as you're talking about. I really wish that would stop being fuzzy. Destiny's only ever felt the author with one other book, The Great Gatsby. Just saying, man, there's a classic. That's a deep cut. I haven't read The Great Gatsby since like high school. Queen Triggers is the third rendering I did after redoing the corrupted file. Paul's got a box of samples ready for me. Sweet. I will get some samples ready for you too. It's just that means I have to go through your Instagram again and try and find stuff I have that you don't have on your Instagram. I'll go through it soon though. Yeah, that looks good. I haven't bought it. I'm not buying anything still, right? But when I am back to buying, I'm definitely going to pick up another bottle of the bourbon. That rum barrel does look interesting to me. Whenever you see RHUM in English, that usually means like a rum agricole. Am I right about that? Like, as soon as I said that, I suddenly questioned myself. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. Okay, and Peanut Trucker did drop the link. I'm going to open that in a new tab. Choose your Amazon site. Shop on Amazon.ca, of course. Foo. Okay, so this is Before the Broken Road Home. Wyatt's story Before the Broken Road Home. This is like a prequel. Shall we read this now? Like, shall I share the screen now? Just to take a look. Don't show me this warning again, for God's sakes. Yes, allow. Hold on a second here. This is not what I wanted to do. I'm having a hard time sharing here. Can you see this? No. Hold on a second here, people. Share. Screen. Allow. Not this window. This is painful. Forget about it. So the book, 69 pages, tells more about the characters and a surprise at the end. So this is like his backstory. As long as we can hear you, it's all good, saith country boy. Country boy gets me. You don't know who understands me, dude. Chris loves a homemade belt. I do too. I think anything homemade, well, many homemade things are better than store-bought. Beto, hi. How you doing? One of the TV shows my youngest watches on Netflix all the time is actually from Brazil. It's called like Luz something of the heart. I don't remember. It's about like this little girl who runs away from an indigenous village because she's being chased by someone not indigenous and sort of sneaks into this. I think it's a private school or something. Anyway, Clem loves it. I mean, obviously it's dubbed in English. Everyone's saying hi to Beto. Beto's saying hi to everybody else. Okay, everyone's just saying hi. Okay, we're down to the bottom. So, I don't know. You guys want to talk about Chris's book now? Where's David the Instigator tonight? I don't see him. I mean, we're talking the book. Maybe he's staying away because he hasn't finished the book. Maybe that's it. So, who's up first? Oh, I folded a page. Actually, I folded several pages. So this is self-published, and is this like an Amazon? Like, does Amazon manufactured by Amazon.ca, Bolton, Ontario? Okay, so I guess this is like a just-in-time published, right? Someone orders, and so Amazon prints the book and sends it out. I guess there are several different ways to like. This is a very new way of self-publishing. Another way of self-publishing is this book by Kevin Callan. He self-published this, the classic way. You know, he wrote it. He hired a designer, an editor, and had however many it was printed, and then distributed to it's on Amazon, but it's also at like the Canadian Outdoor Equipment Company, and he had like if you bought one directly from him, he would send it to you autographed, which I didn't know. I bought mine from the Canadian Outdoor Equipment Company. I had him on to talk about this, and he self-published after being a successful a successful author of like 13 books. But this is not similar to the other books he wrote because he writes guidebooks, canoeing guidebooks, and this is it's a memoir of a canoe journey, and uses the story of the canoe journey to sort of hit on things of his life. And self-publishing is always kind of, or at least Less so with, having Amazon print it for you, but when you do self-publishing the classical way and you print like 1,600 books or something, you're taking a big chance. And I think this way, in many ways, is better because you don't have to like sell the farm to put your book out in the world, you know? And also, I get the feeling that you can make changes really far into the process because when I was about to order this book, I told Chris I was ordering that night or something. He said, "Hold up, I'm making a change. Something went wrong on a couple of paragraphs or something." So I'm interested to hear about that process. Hold on. Okay, David has finished it. Okay, so where is he? We're talking about it. Where's his voice? Where are his impressions? Fitzy loved the imagery in the book. Simple yet effective sentences were beautifully crafted in several parts too. They lent a peaceful atmosphere to the book. I One thing that I did like a lot was the imagery in the book. I could sort of see what I could see the characters going through the day to day on like the barn, building the house, and all this stuff. And I'm a very visual person. I mean, I told you guys that I spent my entire life having my mind polluted by art school. Some of my favorite songs are not the best songs in the world, but like they're songs that are so evocative that I can see the entire story happening. Sonny's Dream is one of these. I don't know if Americans really know Sonny's Dream, but it's almost like the national anthem of Nova Scotia. And it's like a dead simple song, melancholy as hell. I bet Sonny lives on a farm. Sonny lived on a farm. He's never been to town. He stands by the side of the road and like he sort of stares into the distance. The mail comes at 4. The mailman is old. It's like every lyric in that song I can see. And like, so I see this guy, scruffy ass jeans, standing by the side of a road, staring down this road, summer, wheat on both sides, and it's like 1974. Something like that. Like it's got a real location and time for me. And so like when I'm reading anything and I can see it, then I'm going to feel positive towards it. Sorry, I'm a little dry. Camille went to Toronto and came home sick, and I think she gave it to me. So I like stuff that is evocative and where I can see what's going on. What is that? Oh, it's my backup drive. Incidentally, if I suddenly disappear, it's because the weather kicked my network down. Okay. Hold on. I feel that. Yes, when someone orders, they print it. Yeah. Okay. Chrissy says maybe I should have Chris on here so he can talk to us. I don't. Yes. And in fact, I should have pinged Chris earlier this week. I mean, we can try it, but this thing, there are permissions sometimes required and sometimes not. Chris, do you want to see if we can bring you on? Hold on. Oh, yeah, so you have all kinds of freedom with it. My wife says I'm writing my next life or a past one. It's funny. So I don't know. We can try it. It's just we might be frustrated. I think we can see. Oh, your signal's only 4G. Okay, never mind. All right, well, you better be. So, yes, I thought it was quite a heartwarming story, and I saw the sort of the healing and the forgiveness for sure. As someone who didn't grow up Christian, I don't understand the power of God thing. And I'm not saying that as a negative thing. I'm not dissing that. I'm just saying it's not something that I can really connect with. But I feel that whatever that is was very powerful to the people in this book, and gave them a certain strength. Not knowing how that works doesn't mean that I don't think it should be there. I want to make that clear. I'm not making this as a ding on the book. It was just something that I struggled to really get, and I always do. I always do. There's something about sort of that in any context, I'm always like, okay, I don't I don't understand it, but I see it's important for you, kind of thing. So I'll meet you halfway on that. And I bring that up because does does God or faith in that deity, does that smooth the road towards forgiveness at all? Or is it still really hard to come around to that? Because that's the question that I've had in my head since reading the book a couple of weeks ago. It's like, does the power of religion, or of, let's face it, faith, because I see faith as very private and very true to you, whereas religion is kind of the public framework we put around it. That's not a dictionary thing. That's just the way I see it. But like, does faith smooth the road towards forgiveness? Does it make forgiveness come faster? Or does it make one desire to forgive more freely? Yeah, I've been wondering that. I'm just going to wait to see if anyone's actually typing, because I don't want to talk over if somebody has something to say. Okay, Steve says, faith is to me a path of forgiveness. So that puts them hand in hand then, for sure. Interesting. And I guess I'm also wondering about this because I just sort of dealt with this in with my counselor a few weeks ago. Like, what I was wondering about, it was, what is the difference between forgiveness and just moving on? Because I like, okay, that happened, and I move on very quickly. But I don't think that that's the same as forgiveness at all. I think that there's a difference in intention there. And for something that's as central to the story as it is in this book, I think it's I think it's important for me to understand where it sort of comes from. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just sticking on it because I didn't quite, because it's I'm not on the inside of the faith. But like, love, right? It's a central tenet of the faith. So I guess that would make it, it would make it come more naturally. Destiny says, oh, hell yes, forgiveness comes a lot easier, you find, with some accompanying belief system. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense because, I mean, there's a comfort that comes with the belief, for sure. Chris says, you can have forgiveness without religion, for sure. Choosing to forgive someone can clear your mind and take weight off your shoulders. I get that. Fitzy likes the way you phrase that. Yeah, I could see that, for sure. I feel that there ain't enough people talking about this, man. I want to hear. Country Boy says, excuse me, no matter the religion, faith is an incredibly personal thing based on so many factors. I've not forgiven people for trivial things and forgiven others for deeply painful things. The other's personality has a lot to do with it. Right. If someone who absolutely adores you makes a really big oopsie and causes a lot of pain, you know that it wasn't done out of evil. Whereas if some absolute person of not nice character slings you a mild insult, you know that there's intent there for sure. Fitzy says, I liked how the characters gave the protagonist time and space to process what needed to be without pressure or yak in their suggestions without being prompted. When you're on your path to redemption or healing and ultimately forgiveness, you do need space for sure, because that has to happen within you. People can't just sort of suggest your way into it. So that rings true to me. I like what you just said there, Destiny, for sure. And would you say that sort of good-heartedness comes from a place of honest faith rather than necessarily external? A lot of people go to church every Sunday and are the living embodiment of, that saying, there ain't no hate like Christian love. Whereas there are other people who never go to church but embody the tenets that we all know are there, right? The love thy neighbor, the goodness. And so I feel that the people in these stories, I said these stories because it's something I want to say. In this story, I feel that they do go to church, but I feel that there's the good Christian thing rather than the Bible thumping asshole. You know what I'm saying? Goes to church for the formality of it, for the performance. And I guess I kind of wish I was surrounded by such warm people. I have been in the past, for sure. But not as an everyday living kind of situation. Hold on. Painter Trucker says, I don't go to church every Sunday, but you're right. Faith is personal to each person and how they search and choose to live with their faith. There's David the Instigator. Been having internet issues. Looks like I'm having internet issues as well, because I am fuzzy. Let's face it, not everyone or everything can be forgiven. It's all all right. Church to me is the fellowship and the Sunday fried chicken. Okay. Okay. That works. Oh my gosh, we're at 20 to 10 already? And Destiny liked the way I phrased it. Well, I'm not at my best tonight, so it's hard for me to keep my brain in one spot. One thing I do want to say is that there are two big, devastating events in this book, and he has to come around to forgiveness on both of them. And I think I would have liked that to have been two books, and for each of those to have been really sort of like the core, like, the entire. Like, I would have loved to have seen sort of the internal process of Wyatt coming to forgive this childhood friend of his who took out his wife and daughter. I just think with those two big events, like, I would almost love to see, since you did like a prequel kind of thing, if you could do like little short stories really diving into each of those events, sort of as companions, and sort of going through the entire arc of his development as like, you killed my family, to like gradually, okay, he killed my family, but they're gone. And that guy like, has loved me as a friend for my whole life. To, they're gone, he's loved me my whole life. It was an accident. He was stupid. To, like, yeah. So if ever you do decide to put out little mini companions, I'd buy those for sure. Um, no, it's not you. The picture's fuzzy. The weather is killing my signal. Maybe I should have thought of that and decided not to do tonight, but no, I wanted to talk about Chris's book because I think he deserves it. He put some work in here, and a bunch of us picked it up and read it, and I have a half dozen half finished books, so the fact that he finished one impresses me, and so I wanted to talk about it. It's a very warm, pleasant read, and I think that I wanted to talk about it for sure. I'm not answering that phone. I'm live streaming. I gotta. I'm not answering. I'm not answering, and I am turning off the sound. Where was I? Boom, da bum, da boom. Oh no. Yeah, I wish I did a series now. But I mean, that's the beautiful of the way you published it. You can do anything you want. You know what I'm saying? And look at Walt Whitman, right? Leaves of Grass. The guy spent his entire life rewriting the same book of poems over, editing, republishing, editing, republishing. Look, it's your book. You can do whatever the hell you want. And that also, by the way, means you don't have to do anything with it, right? You can just let it stand on its own merits out there in the market. For sure. But you didn't pay for 1,000 copies, so you have freedom that, guys who went sort of the more traditional self-publishing way don't necessarily have. Okay, so it's 9:45. Paul, am I pouring the Floki? The safe choice? Or the Bikun? Excuse me. Destiny says, so I got 4 more books, Chris. I have 4 free days this week, Thursday to Sunday, to read them. Looking forward to them. Now that is dedication. Frustrating thing about self-published books, not about either of the ones I just talked about, is I am looking for a copy of a specific book called Play DHD, and it's essentially self-published, and it is perennially backordered. I ordered off of Amazon because I couldn't find it anywhere local, and they don't have it, but they should have it by like May 25th. Like, great. Let me see if I can. Yeah, here. It's a book I came across recently. I mean, I'm posting it. I'm just pasting it here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Interesting. This tells me that somebody. So this tells, because right here it says Kindle from $8.09, but I don't do Kindle, and it says paperback from 152.25, and that's because earlier today there were two paperbacks available, and the one that was 152 was like the collector's edition, and then there was a used one for about $25. And so somebody bought the used one. But anyway. Hold on. David is asking Marcus if he's still away working. Destiny's asking about the order of the books. There's a series that I was never sure if the order that we tend to think of it was the correct order, and that's the Narnia series, because everyone starts with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but I have heard that that's not actually the first book in the series. It's just that that's the one that keeps getting turned into like movies and shows and stuff. Does anyone know about that? I started reading Clem, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe this week. She's very into it, which surprises me because there's like one picture every 4 pages kind of thing. But anyways, Chris appreciates everyone's support. Well, we appreciate you, Chris. The freezing frames are unforgivable. Yeah, I don't know. Is this where we are? That looks terrible. I'm hating it. Anyway. Nothing I can do about it. David says to Chris, I hope you remember us little people when you become a famous published author. Chris will never forget anyone here. That's because he's got a good memory. I forget my daughter's name sometimes. Oh, I would open that. I've never had. Have I had the? So I've had whatever's the standard Bareface, like their first expression, and then they have a few different ones. Is the triple oak? No, I've had the triple oak. It's like a 7-year. Peanut Trucker wishes he knew where the story came from. Bugs me because I've lived with it for so long, I just don't know where the idea came from. Some ideas just sort of pop in. Just poof. I didn't write it for the money. I wrote it to make people cry. Fair enough. Destiny cried. Oh, 10 minutes to 10. So what am I cracking? What am I cracking? I think we'll do this because it's delicious and because I really have to bottle this down before it goes off. Irish Whiskey Night. In honor of the St. Patrick's Week that blew my left arm to smithereens. Oh, fuck. To the amount where I am about to start spending money on a physiotherapist. Christy says the red breast, and I agree because I love it. Okay, and I almost took a sip. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Hold on a second. I'm waiting for Paul's comment to pop up. I poured a dram of Cutty Sark Prohibition Overproof Blended Scotch Whiskey. I have seen that bottle somewhere, and I didn't pick it up because like Cutty Sark, but somebody somewhere I saw somewhere said it was really good. And so if you're pouring a dram of it, then maybe I should have grabbed the bottle wherever the hell I saw it. Bam, da, bam, da, bam, da, bam. Oh yeah, so excuse me. So what's next, Chris? What's next for the writing of the books? Do you have any more ideas popping in? I mean, don't tell us what the next idea is if you have it, because bad luck. But do you have any ideas coming in? Like, do you have another book, in your in your quiver, ready to go? Chris says it's a strange feeling writing a story of a person's whole life from 10 to 85. Makes you think about your own life and how fast it goes. I saw this on TikTok. You just reminded me of something on TikTok. It was also on YouTube, like a YouTube short. A woman is sort of not recording herself, but she goes into the garage, recording as she goes, and there's her husband with like this spool of wire, and there's like spool and like a little bit of wire, like little tiny bit, and he's clearly having an emotional moment. And she's like, "Honey, what's wrong?" And he says, "I was just looking at this wire," and he says, "I've had this wire for 40 years, and when I bought this little spool of wire, it was this big, and it's like 40 years of my life gone in wire. Like this was this big and now it's this big, and that was 40 years." And then she said something stupid like, "I meant, what's wrong? You're wearing your Blue Jays hat," or something stupid like that. And he said, "Okay, I'm out." But what you just said about writing someone's life from 10 to 85, it makes you think about your own. It's like when this guy was talking about, this was my life. Because every time he needed to do something with wire, he took a little bit more off over like 4 decades. And 4 decades equaled that much wire. And she just didn't get it. I was like, oh, of course he's out. I don't mean he was like, "I'm leaving." I mean, like, he's, "No, I'm done." Which tells me that she's missed the point on him like that before. But anyway. Oh, hold on. Triple Oak doesn't have age statements. Okay, so I don't remember which one It was like the original one. I think it said 7 on it, but like not as an age statement. It was sort of up near the neck. Chris's mom says she should continue with Caleb and little Jake as they take over the ranch, but haven't started it. That might be good. That might be a good idea for sure. Yeah. Fitzy, Jess, where did your tapper snooch come from? It's so iconic. So you. Okay, so the word tabarnak is the worst swear word in Canadian French. There's nothing worse. Nothing. Like in English, it's worse than fuck. It's like, it's motherfucker, okay? It's the bad one. And so a lot of the time you'll hear Francos say like tabarnouche as a way of sort of taking the edge off it, right? You hear tabarnouche a lot. Every now and again, tabarnan. Like, so instead of saying, fuck, you say like, okay, hundreds of years ago, gadzooks which we all think of as like a cartoonish word, came from God's hooks, which is like the hands of God, which was a terrible thing to say. It was blasphemous. And so you would lighten it up by saying gadzooks. So tabarnouche or tabarnan are the same thing, but for tabarnak, because you do not say tabarnak in public, in polite company. And in fact, there was a massive scandal because on Music Plus, one of the VJs, whatever her name was, this is like a long time ago. Oh, I think it was Veronique Cloutier. Anyway, she thought her mic wasn't hot, right? So they finished this. She thought they finished the take, and she said, "Oh, tabarnak, man," and that went out on the airways, and so then they cut. And apparently the director came out and said, "You never assume that your mic is not hot." Anyways, Tiber Snooch is just like I don't know. It popped out because I was talking English. It's something I've said, for a long time. A blended family, right? Not only with who I live with now, but also my parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and stuff. That wire video. Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that reel, and they really got onto his wife for it. I would have too. I was angry. I didn't even know this guy, and I was angry on his behalf. I'm trying to get comfy here, people. Hold on a second. Because what he was facing was a very real world signifier of how much of his life was behind him. I was like, woman, what the? Come on, allume. Oh, this is your first time trying it. Okay, I want to know what you think then. Like, I want to know if I'm buying it or not. Jim, howdy. Heading home from work. Maybe you're listening later, but got to catch up after a vacation. Fair enough. So if we see you, that's great. If we don't, I mean, hey, have a good night. Catch up, and we'll see you next week. Elementally aged. I know when I tried the bear for the first time, I really wanted to hate it because I had read sort of their master distiller or master blender. He came from like the wine industry, if I remember correctly. If I'm remembering the proper Canadian whiskey, and he was like, the loopholes in the rules in Canada. I mean, you can try so many things, and he started sounding really kind of artsy fartsy and kind of whiny about, not whiny like, but wine dash e about it. And so I was like, I'm gonna hate taste this bottle, and I didn't actually mind it. Is it spectacular? No, but it sure as hell ain't bad. But I don't know about the triple oak. Is it 10 yet? No, one more minute. Yeah, Tabarouette. Right, yeah. I forgot about that one. I think Tabarnouche and Tabarouette are probably the two most common ones, eh? It was Veronique Cloutier. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like this big seminal moment in Music Plus history. You want to love it because the bottle is cool. I think you're gonna like it. I had no real complaints about it. It's just it was not necessarily the It was so much better than I wanted it to be because I really wanted to be like, you guys suck, and it didn't suck. It didn't suck. I haven't picked it up since though. 10 o'clock. Okay. Cheers. Christy, are you having a dram with us? I'm pretty sure Country Boy is probably having the dram as well at this point, taking a sip. Why is this child bugging me? No, it's 10, man. Yeah, that's a tasty dram. It's funny because like to anyone who thinks that like Irish whiskey is Jameson, I mean, yes, but it's also redbreast. Okay, it's also teeling. I have yet to have a teeling that I have not liked. There's a lot of expressions out there that I don't know anything about. I think Glendalough, no. There's like the Irishman and stuff like that. I don't know. And proper 12 is garbage. It's toilet water in a bottle, but it's also Redbreast 12 and Redbreast cast strength and so many delicious things. And it was Waterford, which was good stuff, but way too expensive for what it was. And that was Irish whiskey that was done in sort of the Scotch tradition. Very interesting. Nowhere near good enough for the prices they were charging. And then they got greedy, tried to open up and do the same thing with like a new rum distillery down in the Caribbean, which went under, dragging the whole damn company with it. Way to go, fools. Christy's having, yep. Having the bullet. Oh, you finished your Elijah Craig yesterday. Okay. Sent away. It's interesting. Really taste the toasted oak like getting some campfire ashes in your glass. I will buy a bottle. As soon as you said that, I'm like, yep, buying a bottle. I love smoky, but I really love campfire smoky. Like, with like a barbecue kind of thing. It's actually good for 40 bucks ish. Okay, good to know. Because I'm trying to make this year about the $100, 120 and under bottles. See what I can get for like way more reasonable prices, as just as a way of reacting against where whiskey prices have gone. And like Classic Laddie is still a very good price for what you get, you know. And so I celebrate that bottle. And I haven't bought one, but I probably should. I like Classic Laddie. So I'm going to. Oh, hey, Russell's here. Nice. Welcome, Russell. Welcome to the show. Are you having a whiskey with us? He's just not chatting much. That's fine. That's fine. And I would like to point out that Destiny is asking the most important of questions. Chris, did you say what's up next for the books? Yes, you said, yeah. And that Wire video, yeah, that. Ugh. Why did she post that? Like, did that in some way? Did she think that in some way that made her husband look like a fool? Because it made her look like a freaking shrew. And maybe the unfairness there is that they may actually generally be very happy together, and it was just a stupid moment that she shouldn't have posted, right? We don't know. We have no idea. But man, excuse me. Christy Ground says that Cuddy Sark there is 23. The one he is drinking is it's a special. I don't know if it's a special edition, but it's from a shelf higher. But I think that even normal Cuddy Sark here is. It's more than 23 bucks, that's for sure. Russell said Ray is mostly good. He pulled a muscle working out. I think he was doing lat lifts, throwing 100-pound barbells. I also have to see a physio for a messed up arm, but that's because of bass playing. I was talking about physio to one of my friends at work today, and telling this really funny story. So this is going to be my second time going to physiotherapy due to a bass playing injury, a bass playing related injury. Now, before we go any further, I want to point out that my guitarist has the exact same. They call it tennis elbow, I think. It's a tendonitis in the elbow. He has the exact same thing now, and my fiddle player, Peter could not be here for the St. Patrick's Week slaughter because his shoulder's fucked up due to fiddle playing, and he's waiting on surgery. So it sucks playing music while getting older. But the first time I had to see physio for a bass playing related injury, I think I've sort of told this story before, but I'm not sure. I had this weird sort of jumping nerve sensation and like right here and some numbness. And so I went to physio, and it turned out that what that was nerve damage here because of the way a lot of bass players, and I at that point, drape their arm, they're plucking arm over the bass. It creates this really weird kind of, hold on, tension, right? Because you're like this, you're and so it creates this weird tension that goes all the way down. I have since lowered my bass, not to like heavy metal down by your knees kind of thing, but I've lowered it down so that my arm doesn't go in that weird zigzag that like a lot of jazz guys, right? Because they play really high. Forgot about it. So I went to a physio for about 6 weeks. And poor Jessie, she was like around the same age as me, maybe a little older, like she was maybe in her early 30s. Lebanese. Great looking. And of course, physiotherapist, so in shape. Great, but fine, right? I mean, the world is full of beautiful people, whatever. But because I would go in pain and come out feeling better, I fell so hard for my physiotherapist, man. Holy crap. And so, and I was kind of embarrassed about it because, like, I was talking to my friends, and like, I fell for my physio. And the guy was telling me, said, yeah, so did I. You go in pain, you come out feeling great. People fall for their therapists all the time. This is not embarrassing. This is what happens. And so I felt a little less stupid about it after that. I couldn't tell you what she looked like now, right? I mean, it's not like the love of my life for my entire life or anything. It's just at that short, very intense period where I would go in like feeling messed up and come out feeling a bit better every single time. It was like this woman was the light of my life. I don't think that's going to happen this time because now I'm prepared. But it was funny. Good always says, for 23, all I can get is a 15 pack of cheap skanky beer. Yeah, you're never going to see a whiskey for $23 here, that's for sure. Peanut Trucker says, I put a couple of AI videos up on my YouTube, like movie premiere. It's fun play with grok, making the pictures come alive. Russell says, AI is fantastic for story research. Chris says, there's 3 brothers in Albany, Georgia that make Christian movies, and I'm going to send them the book, see if they would want to make a movie from the book. Probably won't, but won't know if I don't try. Man, like Hallmark movies do this kind of story all the time, right? Christy likes the idea. But yeah, Christian movies, it's not a bad idea. I mean, there's a market for it, right? Ray has some competition from a local police officer who I occasionally see in our big box store, but that's a story for another day. Get pics, send them to Destiny. So, it's 11 past 10. Are we finished talking about Chris's book? Does anyone have anything else to say? Chris, I think if you're going to try and sell it to some movie makers, support, anything you can do to to make it work. Absolutely. Chris, how much time have you spent on ranches and farms and stuff? Because there's a certain comfort that you show with sort of the turn of the year and harvest and stuff like that. Is that because you grew up on a farm or something, or is it just you know a lot of people, or did you go to a library and research the crap out of it before writing? Yeah, that's true. You have to have a publisher to pitch to the Hallmark. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, that was Fitzy saying that. Sorry, I totally missed that. Russell asks Fitzy, when your police officer flexes his calves, does the ground shake? Love that. Yeah, I totally got Russell and Destiny mixed up there. I'm drinking that too quickly. I'm going to have to pour a little bit more so I have a little bit until the very end of the stream, but I'm going to pour a little bit. That's why I don't like drinking these really great whiskeys during the live stream, because my attention is rightfully on you guys. So, like, I should, you know what, Paul? Maybe I'll get that Cuddy Sark for when I'm doing a live stream and I'm talking to you guys rather than like sitting in like a caramel, marzipan, touch of espresso. Is that Edam cheese? You know what I'm saying? Like, when I don't have the time for that, like I should be drinking something a whole lot more pedestrian, like a Glenlivet or something. Maybe I'll pick up that Cuddy Sark. Chris says, I grew up on a dairy farm till age 15. When the farm went away, the guy that hauled our milk taught me how to drive trucks. Okay. Someone in my family used to own, oh yeah, one of my uncles used to own a cabane à sucre. Not the same as a dairy farm, but, you know, you're farming syrup from trees. What? Never mind. Now, there's an interesting question. Thank you, Paul, for asking that. Destiny, what's up? No charcuterie board report? Inquiring minds want to know how much cheese and saucisson, whatever the hell, what the hell's a saucisson in English? Like a salami, dry sausage, carnotzels, grapes, rye vita, crackers, chips, bagel chips. What's the charcuterie board tonight? Hummus? Paul, my fiddler got his hands on like a special edition Nika from the barrel. I don't remember what, like a, maybe it had an age statement. I don't remember what, but he sent me a picture of it and I said, get me one. And he pinged me back and said, I can't. I just checked. I got the last one. I was like, fuck. Because I love Nika from the barrel. Love it. Oh, Destiny says, the highlight was a slice of s'mores cheesecake from a local bakery who sells 10,000 of them each month. Jeez. They're so good. Lots of different flavors. Oh, I see. Okay, I thought you meant like 10,000 of that cheesecake. Yeah. Thanks for talking about the book. The feedback helps. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so I guess we're done with the book. Anyways, I want to reiterate that I have warmth toward. I mean, it was a very warm, heartwarming story. And part of me thinks that the world feels so unsafe right now. It's like the forces of hate have just blasted everything else away. So a heartwarming story might have been what I needed. You know, I live in a country where the next draft will most likely include young women as well. So I think I needed to sort of, I think I needed something warm and fuzzy, you know? Not warm and fuzzy, because it's not a fuzzy book, but it's a warm book. It's a book with heart in it. And I often read to escape. I have said many times, and I think probably at least twice here, but I'll say it again because we're talking about books, that when life really piles up on me, I escape into like science fiction. I like hard science fiction. I like very specific authors, guys like Greg Bear and stuff like that, because I want to be away from my life. And in a way, this sort of very cozy book, in a lot of ways, sort of filled in the same role for me this time around. Because it's like every time I see the news or whatever, it's like another absolutely enraging event, or another terrifying event, or another hole in the wall that holds back the forces of barbarism. And so it was nice to read something that took me away from that while I was sitting on the bus or whatever. I'm scrolling back. Oh, Tim. How you doing? How you doing, Tim? I do not think it has been a minute since you've been on the live stream, but welcome. How are things in California tonight? When I was a kid, I used to love cheesecake. I'm not so big on it anymore. I think I got cheesecaked out, but I do like cake, evidently. Country Boy says, stop talking about food. I'm trying to lose weight. Dropped 6 pounds in 3 weeks by just not eating potato chips. By the way, rice cakes suck ass. I like rice cakes. I will have you know. I will school you. The secret to the rice cake is what you put on it. And I don't mean piling it full of chocolate sauce. I mean, I take a rice cake with like cheese, stuff like that. I don't like sweet with my rice cakes. Like I'm not putting peanut butter and honey on a rice cake. That's what toast is for. Or like I'll dip it in hummus or something. I like rice cakes. I love like Rivita, stuff like that. Man, delish. I just love me that stuff. But I'm with you. I'm not eating potato chips almost at all anymore. Where have you seen it? I want to get my hands on it. I don't remember right now actually what the difference was, because because I wasn't expecting to talk about it. I don't remember. Was it different woods? Was it? I'll look it up later and I'll text you if I remember to. Put hot sauce on them, for sure. Hell yeah. He got him some hot sauce. Yeah, go light with the hot sauce, like just a little sprinkle, that kind of thing. Yeah, because that's how we put hot sauce on Jess. What the? We're all friends here, right? Christy says, "Don't drown them so that they're soggy." I was trying to say the same thing and like totally blowing it. Chocolate fudge cake is where it's at. Works for me. Country was like, that's mean. Oh my land, Tim. Chocolate fudge cake with chocolate fudge icing with chocolate cake. Chocolate fudge jimmies. What the hell is a jimmy? The hell are jimmies? I have no idea what a Jimmy is. It says extra marriage on the SAQ app. So it's a married VAT. I think we have to do we have to investigate this. I'm pretty sure there's none available at the SAQ anymore, because of course. But hold on, let me check. Because people are watching, so why not look away and look at something absolutely local? Succursale. Nika from the Barrel. I only see one Nika from the Barrel here. Jimmy's are sprinkles? What are you people doing to me? Why not just say sprinkles? Jimmy's. You Jimmy a door. You put a Jimmy hat on your John Thomas before engaging in sexual congress if you do not want an heir. That was safe. Yeah, the way I said that was safe. Is liking hot foods a blood type thing? You never could understand how that works. Okay, so here's how that works. You have taste. Ergo, you like hot foods. You are a person of rare taste and refinement. Rare refinement and taste. And refinement. Because those things, when they come together, they create a crucible in which a liking of hot, spicy foods and peated whiskeys is brought together, is mixed and cooked until it is perfected. And then you put like a sprinkle of jalapeno jimmies on it, just to make sure. I'll take a look on the tubes later. Yeah, so will I. Absolutely. Country boy apparently likes what I said. I have no idea what I said because I wasn't expecting to say any of it. Yay, Jesse's brain is dumb. Yeah, I'm irritated that I only see one Nika from the... Hold on. Nika marriage. Ah! Nika from the Barrel, extra mariage. En ligne. Il n'y en a pas. Mais il y a un succursale. Yes, but quelle succursale? Because if it's 500 kilometers away, I'm not going to go that far. Oh, it's trying to find one. Classification limited edition. Yeah, but I know it's limited edition, but what's the... Yeah, we have to discover this for sure. Paul, if ever you see a bottle somewhere in an SAQ, grab one for you, obviously, but grab one for me and I'll immediately interact you the money. We're at 22.26. So, I told you guys once, I've probably told you a million times because I don't keep track, that I lost like 30 years worth of my writings a couple of years ago due to an absolutely hilarious conjunction of the hard drive on my really old MacBook failing and what I hadn't realized was a hard drive failure in my backup drive. And that was some half-written books, probably a few hundred poems, some songs, two almost finished movies, and at least one play. None of it was finished. I have now come to understand why through the judicious application of $3,000 to a neuropsychologist clinic. But like, finishing a book seems like a big thing to me. Like, no, not finishing the final book, finishing the first draft, right? Because that means you have staying power to get from word one to word last. And yes, there are sometimes endless rounds of editing and shifting sections around and all that stuff to come, but you have something real to build on, right? Something, you have a foundation that you can then use to create your final product through editing. I finished 1 billion poems. I've published some. I accidentally imported a girlfriend from the Bronx based on the strength of a poem that she'd read of mine somewhere and started an interaction with me. But a book. Part of me has always wanted to be a writer, an author. I know that you can be a bestseller and still really need a day job, right? A lot of them do like teaching in universities and stuff. Whereas if you like, if you're a very successful script writer, you're doing great. But you can write a best-selling book, especially in a country like Canada where bestseller is like whatever 5,000 copies or something. Might not even be that many. So you still need to work a day job. Playwright, you may still need to do a day job until you're like an absolute like almost Broadway level playwright. There's a power in sticking it through to the end of something that I'm only really becoming. No, I'm saying that wrong. That I'm only now starting to think might be a possibility for me through a lot of effort with a counselor and an ADHD coach. And part of me is just so tired of the guy who never finished anything, right? The guy who would like get to halfway through a book and then be like, next shiny thing. And so I wonder what me of today would do with some of those half finished stuff. I did find like this, like a huge sheath of old writings when I was reorganizing this whole area. It's like, oh my God, I didn't lose everything. And so I started going through it and putting it into that notebook that I showed you guys a couple of weeks ago. And part of that process was this needs an edit. So I did the edit as I transcribed. And some of this was like, this needs to be shredded, right? And look, it takes a savage eye and a savage pen to sometimes destroy like a scene from a book or a film script or whatever that you really love but does not fit in the flow of the story. I say this after having spent university class level money on several writing courses. So I know what I'm talking about, okay? Nobody ever knows what they're talking about. Or like, I wonder what it would feel like to get to the end of your first draft of a book, not a short story. And short stories are probably, to me, the pinnacle of the authoring process or whatever, because you have to get a whole story into a much smaller number of pages. It's the way I think Leonard Cohen once said that, it's easy to write a poem. It's horribly hard to write a haiku. Might not have been him. I'm tired. And I told you guys I'm in the middle of a neurodivergent crisis today and yesterday. But yeah, I've always loved the process of writing. I used to be one of those really irritating kids, university kids, who would sit in a cafe for hours with my little laptop or my notebook, depending on how old I was and how much money I had, writing words and drinking endless cups of caffeine and kind of staring at the girl behind the counter. And I felt alive while I was writing words down. I felt like I was really doing something. I feel like this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one that I'm going to finish. I'm going to publish, and people are going to know who I was when I'm gone. I think everyone has at least one book in them, but it takes figuring it out and doing the work to bring it out into the world. A lot of people die with a book, a nascent book, sitting there, warm, waiting to blossom inside them. Everyone has one great story. I need to believe that, because one of my bucket list items is write one great song, and another one is write one great story. The power of story plays a big part in like marketing and sales, for sure. Plays a big part in anything where you have to convince people. But that's only the ugly commercial side of it. The fact is, the power of story is fundamental. Stories have been told longer than there have been writing systems. Some of the greatest stories we know, the Odyssey, the Iliad, Homer's epic tales, were oral stories before they were ever written down. And in societies before there were, not before, because that makes it sound more primitive than it is. In societies without writing systems, memorization was big. It was a big skill. It was important. Being able to craft stories so that you could tell them in certain ways that they were easier to memorize, which is where like rhyme comes in. These were important skills. These were cultural, like keystones. Story didn't go away as we learned to write. It just became something that lived on a page instead of always in the air. Always in the air between the mouth and the ear, right? If you live in a society with no writing, stories exist in the air between the teller's mouth and your ear, or between your mouth and the listener's ear. There's power in being a storyteller. There's a different power in being the receiver, the person who can take in your story and then ruminate on it and ultimately decide what they thought you were saying. Because there were always two stories going on. This is a thought that I just had, but is based on a long-term thought I've always had. I used to direct black box theater. I used to also stage manage a theater company. Okay, I've still got time. A theater company that did Gilbert and Sullivan shows. Big production value. And in every night's performance, there were two shows going on. There was the show that the audience saw, the actors. But behind that, there was a whole hidden show happening, which was all the people dressed all in black. From your stage manager in the booth to your assistant stage manager who is running the people, to all your stage hands, to your dressers, to anyone who touched a piece of scenery or a prop. That's a whole different side of the story, and it's its own kind of a distinct entity, and it's running in parallel to what's happening under the lights. And so I'm coming to the philosophy that when somebody tells a story, whether it's in the old way, the magic way, whereas you hear the words and they emote if they're good at it, or the more modern way where they write it on a page. There are two stories happening. There's the story that the storyteller is telling and is sure that they're communicating. And then there's what the reader or the listener or the viewer, if it's a film or TV, there's the story that they're taking in. Because what they do is they bring their brain into the equation. They bring their view. Sometimes they're politics, which is why so many geeks are like, why is Star Wars being so woke? Why is it when it's always been woke? It was always an allegory against totalitarian governments, against actually the first Star Wars movie was about the Vietnam War, and the United States was the empire, right? So whenever someone comes to it, and I don't want to think of it that way because I just like Star Wars to be my escapism, but that's what was going on. And that's what I'm talking about, right? George Lucas thought he was telling one story, but so many people my age now see it as something different. This is so boring. This is so dull. Why am I talking about this? Oh, it's because I'm interested in the story that we're talking about stories. We're talking about the power of storytelling, about the fact that Chris finished a book, finished apparently more than one, actually. Whereas I had until all these hard drives failed, I had like 6 half-written books, in different sort of styles too, right? I had one that was kind of a post-apocalyptic sci-fi thing, which I'd kind of like to resurrect. I had a lot of kind of sort of Leonard Cohen style stuff because he is one of the 3 most influential authors on me every time I put a pen to paper. Shut up, Jesse. Let's see what you guys have been saying. Oh my lad, I have been ignoring you guys for way too long. Sorry. Who are the Nigella Lawsons or the Gartons of the liquor and spirits world? Or like the Ray Mears of the alcohol world, the gurus, if you will. Okay, that's really tough to say. I love me some Nigella Lawson. I think she's way too flirty for a cooking show, but Ina Garten. Okay. I'll give you like my top 5 cocktail and or liquor channels, okay, that I see as sort of being in that. It's hard to say because like being YouTube famous is not the same as being television famous, but like there are a lot of very famous foodies, like I mean TV famous, who I look at their, when like today I shall make an old fashioned or whatever, and I'm like, no, you know how to braise a pork belly, but you do not know how to make a martini, right? So like a lot of the guys who would sort of be in that space, are on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. So I'll tell you who I see as being that influential on me and a lot of home bartenders that I know. Like I know 20 of them, but the ones that I do know, okay? There's, I don't remember his name because late crisis in my head, and I've had a 2 drams. Leandro Di Riva. Okay. All I had to do was insult myself and it would pop into my head. Leandro Di Riva. His channel, though, is not called that. It's called The Educated Barfly. Now, Destiny, write these down because these are all really solid if you're into cocktails. I have different names for if you're looking specifically for whiskey reviews and stuff, but let's do cocktails first because that's where the fun happens. The Educated Barfly. Okay. He's one of my top 2. The other one in my top 2, okay, is Greg from How to Drink. His channel is How to Drink. I think I like him better because he's got a more sort of street kind of plaid shirt and plain talking kind of way of talking, and I'm pretty freaking working class. There's Anders Ericsson? Anders? Shite. What's his name? Let me just go to the YouTubes and find that for you, okay? YouTubes. No, I'm... Oh, because I actually wrote YouTubes. I was kidding. Damn it, YouTube. Hoisted by my own petard. Anders? I think it's Anders Ericsson. I think it is Anders Ericsson. Yes, Anders Ericsson. He's fun. I think he's in Chicago. He's fun. His wife, girlfriend, wife, his partner is the one behind the camera. Every now and again, he has her on to taste his beverage. She is what I would respectfully call Jessie Kryptonite. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anders Ericsson. I'm just going to put these down because these are people who I feel are guiding lights for me. How to drink water? No, how to drink. There we go. Are these showing up? Educated Barfly. The Educated Barfly. Sorry, it's The Educated Barfly. Ooh, he's got a little check mark. Well, aren't you special? I don't have a check mark. It's okay. My mom likes my channel. Who else? There's a couple of TikTokers as well. But I mean, these are sort of my top 3. I realize that all 3 of them are male. And there's a female bartender who I cannot remember the name of the channel. She's from Scotland, but she lives in Australia. The hell is that channel called? She ends every episode with, and now you know. But I don't bloody remember her name. It's a fucking mystery. Oh, Steve the bartender. Holy crap. This dude, man. Steve the bartender. I didn't mean to click on Steve the bartender old fashioned. I just wanted Steve the bartender. I believe he's also in Australia. What's her name? Check them out. What the hell's her name? Oh well. Hold on a second. Now hold on now. Russell has finished many screenplays. Wait. Hold on. I am scrolling back because I have missed many. Yeah. So Destiny, I hope those are helpful. Country boy. Ordered a bottle of Macaloni's Katnaven. Have you had that one? I had that one a while ago and it's good. I've got to get my ass to the SAQ and pick up a Macal. Do they have any right now? They have nothing I'm looking for right now. You found your bottle of Kildara. Good to know. My beloved Kildara has been sold for quite some time, so I just picked another one that sounded good. Self-published a book many years ago. Like all self-published books, it was 100% shite. Not all self-published books are 100% shite. Oh, apparently the late Jackie Collins has a few vids about her writing process. A very interesting person / writer. That is interesting to know. You know who else is a great read for anyone who wants to be doing the writing is Stephen King. I'm not a big Stephen King fan, but I listen to everything he says about writing because that man knows exactly how to pump books out. And I have a lot more respect for him as an author, having listened to him talk about his writing process. Yeah, because not being a massive Stephen King fan, I was always like, okay, Stephen King, he's probably just cookie cuttering about, but he has a very good work ethic. Can't you order from the distillery? As for the Macalonis. Kajiwa says they're sold out, not discontinued, but they have none. I think I've told too many people how good it is and shot myself in the foot. Destiny says, "Oh, God bless Russ. Screenplay writing just about did me in at uni. Gosh, that takes effort." So I think I've told you peeps that my degree is in communications. I specialized in film production, and my focus was directing and screenwriting. I love the process of writing a screenplay. I love the process of like I love how the format of a screenplay is so rigidly tells you how long a film is, right? Because it's X amount of time per page, period, essentially. And how you can immediately tell what's going on because it's not written to be read by a reader. It's written to be read by an actor whose job it is to know exactly how many lines they have, exactly in some screenplays how to deliver those lines. In some screenplays, not. In some screenplays, they're left with a little bit of agency. But yeah, I do love a screenplay. I have written several, each one dreaming of filming it and putting it out in the world. It's going to a festival and having it picked up. Here I am, not doing that. But anyway, whatever. Russell says screenplays is my thing. Novel or short story writing, I'm crappy at. I love a short story. I did like, Ooh, BSW has it. That's good to know. BSW has everything. They don't have everything. There's a couple of things I really wish they did have. I am looking for a high coast berry, and I have not seen it anywhere in Canada for a couple of years now. When I say berry, it's Berg, I guess, is how you would think it's pronounced. Which reminds me, I have not done my Swedish today. Whew. Yep. Get on it, Holmes. It's okay. As soon as we're done here, I'll do 15 minutes of Swedish, and then I'll get ready for bed. Do my whimsies and go to bed. Yeah, I should have a peated version of the Kildare. That I did not know. So here's the thing. To me, I have really come around to the philosophy that peated whiskey is my winter whiskey, and unpeated is my is for the warm half of the year. So if I was to buy a Kildare now, going into the warm part of the year, I would not buy the peated. Yeah, but Country Boy, you can order from BSW in Alberta, and they'll send it to you. Ain't gonna be free, but they'll send it to you. Paul is not big on peated stuff. No. Country Boy is saying to Paul that he's not big on peated stuff. Oh my God, Jesse, for fuck's sakes. I will just repeat what I just said. In the winter, I'm very big because I used to be a very big peated, like exclusively peated. In fact, I started from like exclusively Lagavulin 16, and I was like, well, okay, this Bamora stuff is pretty good. But I mean, I was only peated all the time, almost right up until COVID. Not quite, but almost. Like I had already been sort of discovering unpeated stuff, and like that's really good. But like it was really COVID and starting a whiskey channel because I could not do my bushcraft channel while there were checkpoints on all the highways keeping me in my area, that I really sort of started diving into other things like sherried whiskeys that I had always been sherry averse. And I tried that Aaron sherry cask, and I was like, you know what? Bring it on. Destiny says, I think Chris has 5 books altogether. Okay, good to know. Chris says the other books are short stories. 9 total, just short stories. Okay. Fitzy's diving into the rest of Chris's work, I see. Okay, Christy, Better avec Bourbon is such a nice guy. And in fact, some of these samples that I said, oh no, these are mine that I'm sending are for him. Very nice guy. A good channel. I love his approach. And yes, please support him. He was a YouTuber first, I think. Anders Ericsson. Yes, Anders Ericsson. Educated Barfly and Greg from How to Drink. Yeah. I think Better Vic Bourbon is from somewhere in Ontario. Oh, is Tim out? I didn't see that. But good night, Tim. Say hi to Christy for all of us, as Destiny just said. Did I say that? It's funny. Boom. Russell says Stephen King is a great writer, but he's got his faults. I read Needful Things, and I know more about every last person in that town than my own mother. Screenplays are apparently great. I think they are too. Country Boy says Iris Johansson was a prolific writer too. She pumped out the novels. All good reads if you like crime novels. Best director I've ever had was for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. The casting was superb too. Such fun, for sure, absolutely, classic. Screenplay rewards me for all my crappy novel writing shortcomings. Okay, so Paul says, here's the info on the Nika from the Barrel Extra Marriage. The Extra Marriage edition extends the traditional cask marriage period up to 6 months, doubling the usual time. But is that worth the $14 upcharge? Or no, is from the Barrel like 68 now? So, but because like the Extra Marriage is like an $80 bottle. Like, what does that bring? I gotta get a bottle. Like, I gotta sort of sit the two next to each other, pour 2 drams, and like, that's actually a $70 bottle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta get one. Russell says I should do a live stream where you invite your amateur writers on screen to chat about storytelling. Maybe I should. It's not a bad idea. Peanut Trucker says, what is the difference between writing a story or writing a screenplay? Whew, they are not the same. Oh, Paul is, bonne nuit tout le monde. Everybody have a good week. Good night, Paul. Sleep well. Oh, my snap. There's 2 minutes left. Okay, we're done here. Russell, you mean what I mentioned earlier? Well, novels like long visual prose, which I'm terrible at, but screenplays want simple descriptions. Just get to the point. Like with a screenplay, you can add directions like, camera sees wrecked car, smoke coming from hood. Whereas in a book, you kind of have to work that into the narrative, and not just saying there was a smoking wreck there. It's like, Karen came around the corner, her breath pounding from the 15 minutes of running. She was too late. She saw the car, or she saw the rumpled shape of the car with the smoke coming out of the engine compartment. She ran over, couldn't get in the door, pounded on the window. Jake, are you alive? Jake, pound, pound, pound. Jake was not moving. Whereas in a screenplay, establishing shot, nighttime suburban street, rain slicked roads, car wreck against tree, smoke billowing from engine compartment. It is obvious no one is moving, right? And then cut to medium shot of Karen running, dolly shot, medium dolly shot of Karen running, crying or gasping. Stop, sees the car, cut to the car. She runs over, pounds on window. Jake, are you alive? Jake, are you there? Karen slumps to ground, crying. Right? Like, it's a different. You're telling a story in both of these, but the way you're telling the story is very different, because in one you're writing for a reader, and the other you're writing for a camera, right? And an audience whose view is through the lens of that camera. God, that probably sounded so boring and self-important, but anyway. So everyone's saying goodnight to Paul. Fizzy's got a road the BFIs to the curb. Thanks for tonight's live, Jess. Bonsoir et boozoo to all the snooches in today's live. Good night, everyone. Oh, yeah, it is 2,300 hours. So I'm just going to scroll to the bottom. David Mosi, bonne nuit. Everyone's saying good night. Everyone's probably shutting her down. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say good night. I'm going to say thanks to everyone for hanging with us for this discussion of Chris's book. Between now and next week, I would adore it if you would all please be safe, be healthy, be sane, and be kind to one another. Good night, everyone.